So lion's mane is a very popular medicinal mushroom, right? And it's actually also edible, culinary. Um, and but there's a lot of mushrooms out there. So what's particular about lion's mane? We're going to focus in here particularly on its brain um, health benefits, right? Because this one is just a stellar class of its own for as a medicinal mushroom for treating the brain. In traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, it has an incredibly long history of being utterly valued. There's even a Buddhist sect that wears on their belt assimilation of lion's mane. This is how integrated it is into the body, mind, spirit, right? Because it has this ability for tonifying what are known as the five yin, and yin is everything that is cooling and nourishing and moistening internal organs. So that's your heart, your lung, your liver, your spleen. Who did I leave out? Kidneys, right? That's big, all five of them nourished. It's especially identified with the earth element, that's your spleen, and the stomach, which is the gut, right? And the gut has a really important brain connection, right? Finally, now in the West, the gut is now being called the second brain by Western researchers. And go check out my other video on lion's mane called Two Hearts, No Brain. And it's really fascinating to hear how traditional Chinese medicine looks at this connection and how this mushroom in particular can be aiding this process. But here I want to look at some of this from this kind of difference between Eastern and Western. So we covered the Eastern with the yin aspects, really important, at least touched on it. Lion's mane also increases what's known as nerve growth factor, short NGF, right? And this enhances neuronal growth, regeneration, synaptic plasticity. It improves myelination, enhances neuronal communication, the nerve regeneration, so not just cells in the brain, but nerve regeneration, increasing synaptic potentiation, which improves memory. It can help decrease what's called glutamatergic transmissions. This helps decrease neuronal excitability so that things, get too overexcited. Research has been confirming lion's mane's ability for stimulating the growth of axons and dendrites. Those are part of neurons. And that can then help slow or reverse cell degeneration that's associated with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. That's huge, a natural way for really impacting these illnesses that can have a huge impact on people's lives. Lion's mane has even been shown to be effective in countering cell death caused by medications and treatments for brain conditions, right? So, just incredibly important herb for this. Dementia, depression, damage to the nervous system caused by even strokes and or physical injuries. So you think about people with a lot of head injuries from sports activities and or the elderly who are falling and bumping their heads. This is a mushroom that can come in and help regenerate. It's even been found that it helps increase recovery time for the brain, spinal cord, or even the nerves, reducing recovery time like 23 to 43%. Right? That's huge, huge. And it can reduce the severity of the impact to the brain caused by strokes. So for people that are suffering from these conditions, this is big time. Last point, lion's mane contains many important healing compounds, but there's two in particular that are nootropic, which is supporting cognitive capacity: hercinones and neurancinines. And these have a very, very low molecular weight, which means they can just pass through that blood-brain barrier really, really easily. And it's one of the reasons it is so effective for stimulating nerve growth factor, right? Absolutely directly. It's not having to go through a lot of other systems in the body. It just goes right through the brain-blood barrier. So important medicine, especially for these conditions. My mother suffered from a severe stroke, and I wish we'd known more about lion's mane then than we do now, right? It's not hard to get a hold of. The compound arancinin is even considered to have potential pharmaceutical effects. Many compounds are powerful, but very few are isolated out, like in and of itself, really important. And that's because of this nerve growth factor. So there you go. Have a question or comment, please leave it below. I'd love to hear from you. Join our conversation over at White Rabbit Institute of Healing and start thinking about taking and making use of some lion's mane.